Ladies and gentlemen, Cordelia Chase is in the house. I think there's some Buffy and Angel fans out here, I would guess. What would you say? Who? She loves you. Thanks for coming out. She is here, Charisma Carpenter. I am Dan Austin from K105 in Fort Wayne, and let's just get this out of the way right at the beginning. Buffy reboot is happening. Okay, are you part of this extravaganza?
I hope so. From what I understand, there isn't even a pilot at the moment, so I hope if I am involved, I hope so in some fashion. It's more in a substantive way. That would be my dream. I think it would be very poetic to be invited back, especially having the people that were involved to begin with, the best parts of it, Gail Berman, and then having Chloe Zhao direct, Oscar winner, and in general badass, and then the Zuck sisters, who are incredible writers, and then obviously Sarah backing it, and I hope to be a part of it.
Now, the thing that I read this recently, I was not aware of this. I didn't realize that you auditioned for the role of Buffy, and she auditioned for your role. Is that correct?
So this question comes up a lot, and sometimes it gives me a little bit of the ick because it makes it sound like that it's a combative thing. Like the audition process is the audition process
right.
for everything, and it is a matter of finding out who is best suited for which role. And they are kind of playing with, okay, let's see you do this and let's see you do that. So when I did read for Buffy initially, along with the rest of Los Angeles, they loved me. They loved what I brought to the table. But I think, too, I'm a brunette. And typically, back in the 90s, diversity meant a brunette, a blonde, and a redhead. You know, so I fit that particular mold, I guess. And usually the brunette was the mean girl. And that was the direction we were going. And they asked me to go into the hallway and prepare the lines for Cordelia if I wouldn't mind doing that. And I said, of course. I was already on a show at the time. I was on a show called Malibu Shores for NBC. Aaron Spelling produced. And to be honest, I don't even think I could have been Buffy because I was already on another show at the time. So they took me on as Cordelia in second position to Malibu Shores. And then once Malibu Shores was canceled, I was able to join the cast as a series regular.
You know, you mentioned Mean Girls, and you ever think that you could have been in that movie, or that movie could have been loosely based on you?
Well, Tina Fey is quite the comedic genius and an amazing creator. I don't know and have never heard that the Mean Girls movie was based on Cordelia, but that would be fun.
Yes.
I can just tell myself that and be happy. But I don't think that's the case. And I also think that Buffy had long been on when Mean Girls came out, I believe. So it's possible, maybe.
I think the timeline's really close.
Let me just ask her.
Yeah, just claim it. Right? I mean, you guys all would agree with that, wouldn't you? Yes. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you as well. But if you had a favorite line as Cordelia, I've got one written down here, and I want to see if we match, but I'm going to let you say it first.
Phone? I write all my quotes down.
Oh, you got them? Okay.
So that's just propaganda spouted out by the ugly and less deserving is a good one. Good to know you've seen the softer side of Sears is a classic. What's your childhood trauma? Oh my God, I have to call everyone I've ever met right now. I swear one of these days you're going to wake up in a coma.
Mean Girl.
You're the Zeppo. I don't know. Those are just a few that are on the top of my head.
Now, the one I have written down here, and maybe you guys remember this one, is when it comes to dating, I'm the Slayer. Right?
That is true. I mean, for Cordy, not me.
Look, you have some questions over here. Go ahead.
Great. Hi.
Yesterday, you asked me what version of Willow I like the best. But
yeah.
Actually, Cordelia has probably the biggest arc of change, going from the mean girl to like the ultra goddess to, in the book, you are the Slayer now. So what version of Cordelia is your favorite? Or could you pick one?
You know, that's such a great question, and I get it a lot, and I never really know how to answer it because it was really fun being the one to speak the mind, you know, to truly say what is on your mind. I mean, you think about society, especially for women, we have to be polite and smile and kind of roll over a lot or swallow a lot of jagged pills. And I loved that Cordelia got to be her authentic self, and she was unfiltered. And I think that that can be abrasive and hard to take and quite, confronting. But it's also really empowering, you know. And I feel she actually informed me as a person, like charisma. Learned so much from her because I was very much more agreeable, I guess. And today I feel less inclined to be agreeable for agreeable's sake or to maintain the peace. I feel that justice is important, and when there is a situation and where you feel there is injustice, it's imperative that you speak your truth and that you share the truth according to you. My truth may not be someone else's truth, but I can't. I think I'm probably allergic to just going along with anything for the sake of doing it, and I think I get into a lot of trouble because of that, you know. And but I know that I can look myself in the mirror. I know that I can sleep well at night, knowing that I'm at least doing the very best I can every day, and there's lots of room to grow, without a doubt, but the goal is to be better than I was yesterday. So say your truth, be authentic. I think the world would be a better place.
I think that's the same reason why I'd say I like all the versions of Willow, because, you know, it's knowing the beginning of you to the whole you. So thank you for that answer.
I love that. Thank you. I hope I didn't
Thank you very
overtalk
much.
it.
Hi, welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
Well, it's just a sort of a quick two-part thing, but I would feel safe in saying that on behalf of everybody here in the room, that we would all want to extend our support and condolences in regards to the passing of Michelle a few weeks ago. So, but then my actual question is, Cordelia goes through just, you know, so much growth and change over the course of like Buffy and Angel. And I was just wondering sort of what that process was like. You know, how much did you bring to Cordelia? How much was on the page?
All of me.
And was there any sort of, like input as to, you know, where Cordelia would go as a character, or what that process was like when, you know, things would change, like going from Buffy to Angel? Did you have some sort of a roadmap for how Cordelia would be portrayed on the show?
Excellent question. And thank you for addressing the tremendous loss to the fandom and to the show, and just as a creative and a human being in general. Michelle, thank you for acknowledging that. I, again, didn't know her as nearly as well as some of my counterparts. So I don't want to stake claim and be, you know, act like my loss is so great compared to other people that worked with her and spent more time with her. Mm-hmm. But obviously it is a tremendous loss, and it is a tremendous loss. So thank you for saying that. Thank you for feeling that. As it relates to input, I had zero input into the trajectory of Cordelia ever. I think it just landed. It just worked out the way that it did. I had no input whatsoever. You know, this was maybe my third job in my life when I started Buffy. So I was just happy to be there and trying really hard to not touch my hair too much or fidget or make, you know, hit my line or my mark and say the line as it was written, because they were very specific. You had to be word perfect. And that was very scary to somebody that's just their third job. And it's a very specific way of writing, Joss speak is like a thing that exists. And it took some time to acclimate to that. But as it relates to even 3 years in and going over to Angel, I had no idea what they had in store for Cordelia. I had no idea. I don't think they could have even planned it because, when the show becomes a living, breathing thing within itself. So you assemble this cast, and then, how does the audience respond to that role or that character? And that would deeply influence the trajectory of a character. So it was a big compliment to be able to join the cast of Angel, number one. Then number two, you think about Doyle, and that character we never imagined in a million years would not be a part of the cast anymore. So then that would impact the characters, which greatly impacted my growth as a character, and I became the one to give Angel his missions, right? So I don't think they were planning on that at all. So it's kind of like a living, breathing thing that you just are molding, and you can have a Bible, you can have an idea of the way you want it to go, but it doesn't always translate. It doesn't always work out that way. And I think originally when Angel was airing, we actually had to pull back and stop production because the network thought it was too dark. So they can have a great idea and then they have to adjust, like life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm guessing this guy has a question. It's just
Mr.
a hunch.
Question.
Hi there.
Hi.
What did you enjoy the most in Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
In what context? What do you mean?
What do you enjoy the most? Like the characters, the action. What do you enjoy most of it entirely?
Well, I love action. I love to kick ass. Sadly, I didn't get to do it enough. I was usually a damsel in distress. So I loved being able to eventually go over to Angel and be more physical in the badassery aspect. Probably just being a part of a show that resonated so well and was so well articulated that an audience 28 years later is showing up to hear me talk about it. That's pretty fantastic. The writing was incredible. My character, that character is the role of a lifetime. I am in no way upset that I am Cordelia and I didn't become Buffy. I think it was as it was meant to be. So I think the writing, it's on the page. It starts with the page.
Okay.
Does that answer your question? Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Question.
I know
Hi.
that there's a lot of different relationships through the different series, both Buffy and Angel, and that Cordelia might have her own take on it, but who would you have preferred Cordelia end out with in the end?
Angel.
Angel.
And I say that because they were friends. Cordelia grew. He experienced, so much pain and loss in loving, and still loves, and never stopped loving Buffy. But it was just not a possible. It's just it's really hard when you experience loving someone to that extent, but it's an impossible relationship. It's just not going to be able to. You're not able to see it through. It won't ever come to fruition. So his acceptance of that reality was dealt with, exercised, if you will. Right. And from that, he was able to move on and see Cordelia in a new light and really start to see her as this chosen family and also love interest. Wow, this is my family. This is my ride or die. This is a person that accepts me for who I am and all of my character defects. That little bitey bit. It's kind of problematic. And then he accepts Cordelia and all of her flaws and her character defects and her, growth, from once being this very shallow person. But we do get hints throughout the series that she is less shallow and more self-aware than we ever gave her credit for being. But yeah, it was founded and rooted in appreciation and friendship. And I think when you have that as a foundation, the sky's the limit. So I'm sad that they didn't end up together. And we never got to say the thing.
Right? Thank you.
If you never saw the conclusion, hopefully they didn't spoil it for you. Yes, sir.
What role would you say is the most different from Cordelia to show your range?
I did, I like to do character work, and I don't really think that people see me as a character actress, and that's okay. But doing 911 was so fun to be on that set and play the girlfriend of a wannabe Evel Knievel guy at a racetrack with this broken down body and his broken downness and this broken down car, and we're just trying to keep it alive, and make money and all that stuff. Just to play like this person was so fun. Probably that.
Just listening to you speak before we get to our next question, could she not be the voice of a Disney princess? I mean, I'm just listening to you. I'm mesmerized, going, yeah, easy. I don't know
What
which
does that
one.
mean?
I don't know. It's just so smooth and just so, I don't know. I don't know what I mean. Help me, please.
Well, I think you have a lovely speaking voice, so thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
I can't sing, so I'll never be a Disney princess. It's okay.
Hi. I'm just curious with having a show that is 20 plus years old that you have to keep talking about and things, like how often do you rewatch? Or do you do an annual rewatch of the show ever, or just...
That is an excellent question.
Because I forget
And why
stuff.
it's relevant is because I think it's really time that I watch the show. I have never seen it. I have
Really?
never, nope.
Really?
I mean, I read the scripts, obviously. I acted in the first 3 seasons of Buffy because you have to read the script. You're in it.
Yeah.
And you want a basic understanding what's happening in the episode. You don't just read your lines and everybody else is blah, blah, blah. You have to read the script and act in them. But once I went over to Angel, I had no idea what happened from season 4 to 7 on Buffy. And I never had a crossover. So I literally have no idea what happens. But I know 28 years later through clips, I know about Hush, I know about... I just found out that Joyce died. I did not know that. I just found that out. I hope I didn't spoil it for you guys.
Spoiler alert.
28 years later. But I didn't know that. I just found that out probably 2 years ago. And I found out because I was at a con with her. And we were on a panel like this, and somebody said something to her about it. And I looked at her, I was like, you died? I did not know. So then with Angel, I wasn't in the 5th season. I've never seen the 5th season. And obviously I know what happened season 1 through 4 because I read the scripts and I was acting in it. But I have never watched the show. So I'm intending to watch the show. And I'm going to give you all my thoughts.
Should do a podcast. We'd listen.
Well, actually, might be in the works.
All right.
Oh, spoiler. Okay.
Thank you for that.
Hi.
Hey,
Thank you for being here, first of all.
thank you for being here.
And I'm sorry, but I'm Team Spike.
Wait, what does that mean? You're not me either? You're not team me either?
No, you said that you would see yourself as Cordelia with Angel, but I'm Team Spike.
Meaning,
so.
but not for Cordelia.
No, not
for
necessarily
Buffy.
for Cordelia.
We're on the same
But-
team
no, I
then,
mean,
right?
just for
You think
everything.
Buffy should be with
Just-
Spike, and I
just
think Cordelia should be.
Just for everything, I'm Team Spike. But anyway.
Fair.
My question is, so you mentioned Hush, which
Yeah.
you were not in. So different episodes were either very dark, or some of them were just very fun and light and comedic. Is there a difference on set when an episode is very dark versus a very fun and comedic episode?
Oh,
with
for
you,
sure.
with you,
It's
the
vibes,
actors.
right? It's vibes. Whenever there's an intense scene that needs to be done, or Cordelia's crying, or, when Angel becomes Angelus, absolutely the vibes on the set change. It's kind of how it should be, right? We want to foster that environment that makes those characters be able to express themselves in this dark way. And it's just, that's what's so great about a film set and having seasoned crew. They understand the assignment. They understand, like, we're not going to be joking around and sipping tea in somebody's eye line when they're being a vicious vampire. That's just the way that it is on a set. And it's awesome to be able to kind of have that, what is the word? Synthesis, I guess, harmony, where it's a living, breathing thing. Again, the show is a living, breathing thing, and that does happen from scene to scene even.
Okay, thank you. Just
Yeah.
wonder if there was anybody who was like the comedic person, like in times of that, to lighten the mood.
Like David is a goofball. He's
Okay.
absolutely like a giggle boy. Like it's bizarre.
Okay.
It's bizarre to like between scenes. I remember reading to this point. I remember reading an article that John Leguizamo had done, speaking about Leonardo DiCaprio during that Romeo and Juliet movie that they did, and that Shakespeare came very easy to Leonardo and not to John. And so between takes, Leo could be like, blah, 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 and then action, right up until action, snap right back into character and do that without any problem. And John was very frustrated by that. And I'm more on John's vibe. Like, I can't do that. Like, I cannot pop in and out like that. Like, I have to go to a dark corner and stay in it. But David can do that. He doesn't always do it, though. Like, if he does have to have a dramatic scene, he will, like, maintain. But we do get the giggles from time to time, or, you can't help it. Sometimes you slur or you spit on someone when you're trying to do something and then you break or whatever. And thankfully it's film and you can break, but if you're on stage, you just, you get spit on and you keep going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you've talked a lot about Cordelia, but I kind of want to hear about what you thought of your character arc as Kendall on Veronica Mars.
Oh, she was fun.
She was.
She was so naughty. She's just, she is an opportunist. She's looking out for herself by any means necessary, survivor, and weaponizes her looks to rope ignorant men.
Love it.
Wow. It's quite a description.
I don't think it's fair that women are considered gold diggers when men are literally doing things like to shout, like the Ferrari and the Rolex and the Range Rover or whatever. Like, they are emitting a vibration that is saying, want me for these things that I have because these are the things that I value. And then when they meet a woman that values the same thing, they're the asshole?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Sorry.
I don't have a Ferrari,
I'm not
by the way.
anti-men. This isn't an anti-men thing. I'm just saying I'm on my own side. I'm a woman, and I can see both, and I don't feel that it's okay to speak disparagingly about a specific sex and not hold the other sex accountable for their part in that, is what
Yeah,
I'm trying
no,
to
it
say.
makes
It goes
perfect
both
sense.
ways.
Hi, Charisma. My question was basically, what aspect of the role as Cordelia did you have the most fun with? You were just like, yeah, I'm doing this.
It was really fun to be mean. It was really, not mean, but like to say the thing. I think early Cordelia was a lot of fun. The darker, being a villain is fun. Just being a villain is fun. It's fun to be able to just be and then watch everybody handle it in the way that they handle it. It's just like fun.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because those things you say as a villain, you wouldn't say in real life. It's almost those things with a little bubble in your head of going, I want to say this, but I can't. But as an actress, I can.
Yeah, maybe I'm a villain in real life. Maybe because I don't say things to be mean. And usually when I say a thing, it's my truth as I see it or whatever. It's not to hurt people.
Sure.
Cordelia is a little on the fence in that area. It might be a bit gray there. Early Cordelia.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Thanks.
I'm really nervous. This is hard to do.
Hi, don't be nervous.
I've never done it before, and I've been to
The
150
microphone part?
cons. Well,
Yeah.
just coming up and asking a question.
Oh.
But yeah, you got me really excited when you teased the "I Really Hope Happens" podcast. So I wanted to ask what else you've recently worked on, or are working on now, or is coming soon.
So this is always an awkward thing to say for me. I do not work in film and television as much as I would like to. And I don't know why that is. I know people, I have had great auditions in the last quarter of last year. I've had no auditions in 2025. So it's a little hard to book something if you're actually not a contender. So I don't know what that's about, but what I realized is, like all the great women that have success, is you have to pivot and you have to reinvent and you have to figure it out. And, that's what I'm doing. So if I can't be in front of the camera, I'm going to create my own content. I'm going to, not just stay in one lane, let's throw it all against the wall. Let me create these TV show ideas that I have. Let me talk about a podcast idea. Let me do an autobiography. If I don't know that I'm ready to do that yet, but I have an outline. I have ideas. I started a company. MyCon.live is my company, which is bringing you guys into a space where we can virtually interact. We can do meet and greets. I can do shout outs. You can send in stuff to me. I have a whole gallery of photos where you can just send in. And the goal is to have an investor and to grow that company and bring on more people. And it would be the first ever virtual community created and founded by talent that is fan focused. I think being an insider is more valuable to you because I understand how it works. I know what your needs are. I know what you like. And I also know what's involved to produce a show like this because I've been doing it for 30 years. So I wanted to do that, and I wanted to do it for a reasonable price. So I'm started a company. These are the things that I do to stay creative in an industry that, for all intents and purposes, has said, we're good. We're good with you.
Well, good luck.
Over my dead body.
Like other people have said, thank you for being here. This is kind of similar to a previous question, but out of all of the characters you've had the opportunity to play and shows you've been in, is there a favorite scene that you've done?
Yes. Immediately I go to this really small movie I did called Psychosis by Reg Travis out of the UK. The character is a novelist, and we don't know if she's losing her mind and this is happening and it's a figment of her imagination, or if this really is the case. But she thinks she's being, it's kind of a horror vibe. She thinks, or thriller, she feels like she's being attacked. So she encloses herself inside of a refrigerator with a knife, and then the person opens and she comes out, to protect herself. That was really fun. And I got injured doing it. But I don't know. I really love acting. I love suspending belief. I love these different scenarios. And I just thought that was a really fun thing, a scene to do. Instead of being the one screaming and opening, in early Buffy, opening a refrigerator and finding a dead body and screaming. Now I'm the one hiding and I get to stab. I don't advocate stabbing. I'm just saying, you have to say these things. It's so crazy. It's the world we're living in. I don't advocate stabbing, but I do advocate self-protection.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No more midnight snacks for anybody tonight, am I right? Whoa,
You're
what's
right.
in there? Okay.
Hi.
Hi. Got to meet you yesterday. It was awesome. You're so classy. You're an awesome
Thank you.
actress and everything. But my favorite thing you've ever done is and I want to know your opinion on it, is when you and James Marsters were on Supernatural and you were the War of the Roses couple. I want to know what got
How
you
great!
into that.
I feel like they should do a spinoff on that couple.
Yeah.
We had so much fun. You know, James and I worked on Buffy and Angel, but the only time I worked with James was on the 100th episode of Angel. We were on the same set, but we didn't have scenes together. So it's weird that you can be in the same ecosystem and never really experience one another. And he says at panels like this that he just thought I was a lot like my character and avoided me on purpose as a result. So when we did Supernatural all those years later, he and I were, you know, husband and wife, and we were waiting for the lighting sequence. Give me that baby. Give me that baby. With little bat wings. How cute. It's going to be okay. It's okay. We had a great time just getting to know each other as we were waiting for the cinematographer to light the set. You know, they have chairs like this that you'd set offset. They don't really like you to go back to your trailer because it's a pain in the butt to bring you back. So they provide chairs to sit on the sideline while they do like a quick thing. And we got to sit to talking about our kids and talking about our experience on set. And he says, according to him, "Oh my God, I had no idea you were so cool and so nice and so down to earth."
Wow.
And like, you know, I had no idea. I just thought you were just like your character. It's such an, you know, that's, you know, kudos to you for being so talented that I thought, you know, it was basically you. And I thought that was such a funny thing to say because he is a Shakespearean trained actor. He understands characters. And, but maybe there's a little bit of Spike in James. So I don't know. That was probably one of the most fun times I've ever had on a set, was working with James on that. Maggie Stark was hilarious. She was fun. I loved The War of the Roses, which is also a great throwback 80s movie. So fun. Yeah, great time. Loved it. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was awesome. And
Thank
again,
you.
I love you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And the boys are great too. They are. They're great, great guys. Hello.
I was wondering, you talked earlier about some of the hints that we would see of Cordelia's character having more depth even while she was on Buffy. One of my favorite scenes is when you give her a ride, Sarah Michelle Gellar a ride home when Buffy doesn't have her powers, and there's like just some really subtle things you do with your facial expressions that are nice. What's one of your favorite moments of kind of showing that depth of Cordelia?
Well, again, I haven't watched the show, so I don't have an encyclopedia to draw from.
Sure.
I mean, I was there, but it was a long time ago. But I think there's a moment in the hallway where I tell her that it's really lonely being surrounded by people. Like, you can be in a room full of people and still feel alone. And she says, well, then why are you working so hard to be popular? And it's like, well, it's better to be alone with a group of people than all by yourself. I think it's something to that effect. And I think that was a really strong indication of her self-awareness, that she is purposeful and intentional with her way of being.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So in Buffy...
Fabulous glasses. Those are
Below.
awesome. Huh?
Five Below.
I don't know what that means. What is that a
It's
place?
like yeah.
Is it here at the convention?
No,
Oh.
Bloomington.
Okay, I'll look
It's like
that
an
up.
upscale dollar store kind of.
Okay,
Everything is
cool.
Five
I love
Below.
them.
Yeah, right?
Well done.
In Buffy, when were you like the most scared? Like, what monster scared you
Snakes.
the most?
There was a scene early on in Buffy where there was the cafeteria of snakes. I cannot tell you how afraid of snakes I am. Did anybody watch White Lotus with the snakes? And if you didn't, did you see Walter Goggins on Jimmy Fallon, I think it was, where he was retelling the story and he actually got bit. He was actually bit by a snake. I cannot tell you. I would retire. I like wouldn't be able to. I cannot tell you how freaked out snakes make me. And I'm so grateful that the powers that be that were on the show afforded me that grace to not be on set at that time. And so when it came time to get the bite on my face, it was a rubber. So it was like they trained it on the rubber version of the snake. They did like a reverse filming of it where it starts on my face and then pulled away so that they could get that. And then I had to go. The other thing that freaks me out, I'm very claustrophobic. Did I pronounce that right? It is claustrophobic, right? Claustrophobic. So getting a mold of my face so that we could have that one little patch, which is so weird, for the bite. I think it was season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mention the snakes, because we have somebody from the Indianapolis Zoo backstage. Well, no, I'm kidding. Now that's acting. If you'd like to have a question, you can come up to the microphone. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Okay, so when you went into these visions.
Say again?
When you went into the visions that you had.
Have you seen the show?
On Angel, yeah.
Did you watch?
I watched. I was
when it was airing?
When it was there, yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
that's
I was
awesome.
Buffy to me was like Scooby-Doo gone bad. It was like that next. It was that's what it was to me.
That sounds like the premise of The Boys.
Yeah.
Where the heroes are actually the villains.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great show.
When you
Also a supernatural creator.
When you had these visions on Angel, what was your what were you thinking about when you had a bad headache? I mean, what was the...
That is such an original question. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was my process? I have an acting coach that I work with named Iris Klein. Anybody who wants to be an actor or actress, I highly recommend Iris Klein. And I think she does virtual teaching as well. But I digress. She and I worked closely on every script, just in general, understanding, breaking down every scene. What is the intention? What's my get? Like, what do I want in the scene? And then when it came time to get the visions, which I think occurred around episode 9, Hero of Angel, we had to determine where in my body the pain where would I be feeling it? So I had to decide that. Yeah. And I decided in pain in the head. And we did research together at the library and went through, and this is kind of dark, but we went through all these old Life magazine photos of Hiroshima and the pain and the suffering of that occurrence. And when I go to have a vision, I recalled a lot of those images or other war-like instances around the Holocaust, around Hiroshima, around, hi guys. So those are the things those are the images, the kinds of images that I would go to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
mentally
to emulate
to
what was going on.
Perform. And when Cordelia is hospitalized with the visions and she's starting to have a mental breakdown and she's getting handcuffed into the cot and I can't sleep, I can't eat, I'm losing my mind because I don't have the hero demon I don't have the Doyle demon in me that makes it possible for my human body to tolerate these bone-crushing headaches. You start to see Cordelia break down. And it was training with my coach and just really working through what that is. What is my ultimate worst fear? What do I understand suffering to be? Where would I feel that? Personally, I suffer from chronic stomach issues. Usually I hold my pain here. So it was about where would she hold hers. So yeah, it was an interesting process. And acting is really deep.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
intense. You have to really know yourself, and you have to know what ails you and what turns you on, or like what you're afraid of, and that allows you to be able to perform effectively.
Yeah, I would have never pictured that you went through all that just to get the visions of going through all those very dark moments.
I'm
in
good at
our
my
history.
job.
But
I
yeah,
take
yeah,
it seriously.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Oh, hi.
What's the hardest thing you had to do in your line of work?
Keep going. It's the hardest thing is to keep doing it because you believe in yourself, even when other people may not want to believe in you anymore, or back then, or having to fight for a role that you really want to be on tape for. I've had that happen where somebody just didn't feel that I was right for the part, and I ardently disagreed and said, please let me put myself on tape anyway. And even if I didn't get the part, which 9 times out of 10, I can't think of a time where I did fight for something and got it, I was proud of myself for showing up for myself and knowing what was right for me, even if they didn't agree. And also, just the act of doing that was character defining for me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm back.
Hi.
First, I just want to say that your character on Charmed, Kira, was killed off way too early. I thought you brought such a fun, interesting energy to that show. But as an actor, how was the process different for you, say, like recording Cordelia for like the video game or the audiobook versus being on set and interacting with the other actors?
I did not record the video game. I was never in a booth paid to do the video game. They must have pulled audio.
Huh.
I just found that out too on TikTok. I just started TikTok probably a few months ago, and somebody had asked me that, and I had to tell them, like, that's probably AI using my voice, or they pulled from different lines and put it into the video game. But there wasn't a special recording session for the video game. The audiobook, great question, so awesome. Slayers for Audible, where Cordelia gets to be a Slayer finally. But not finally like I expected it, but like it was so great to be able to kick ass, but also be world weary, having been fighting so hard and so long. It was such a great character. And it was a bit of a crisis for me because I did not know how to maintain the sass of Cordelia and portray the world weariness. It was such a difficult thing to do, not in live action, where you don't rely on your facial expressions. You can't sigh, or you can sigh, but like you can't use all of your instrument, right? So you're isolated to just your voice. And how do I perform effectively not using all of me? It was a challenge. It really was a challenge, and I loved it. And it's a new medium. It was a new medium for me, and also kind of ridiculous because so there's these things in audio recordings called efforts. So it's called efforts, and an effort is you have to pretend like you're fighting or taking a hit. And so the microphone is right here, and you're like, ah! Oh God, that was so loud. And you're like, nah. And then the director's like, okay, now you're taking, you're like, ugh. Like it's just physical. But you don't know that, right? But like you feel ridiculous because nobody's punching you. You're not.
You look great. You look great.
You're actually not doing the act.
So you're like jumping up and down
You
in
don't
the
have
recording
a
booth
stunt
to get out
guy.
of breath.
You don't have another actor that you're fighting. It's literally your imagination, and the director's going, okay, now a slap in the face. You're like, ah, like how would Cordy do it? As like first year Cordy be like, ah, and then like maybe season 1 of Angel, I'd be like, ah, and then by Slayer's season, it's like, you know what I'm saying? There's no audible reaction to that. You don't react. You get to the point where, as a Slayer, slap me in the face, bitch, bring it again. Just try me. How do you say that? Like, let's go. Now you pissed me off, right? So I love my job. I could talk to you about this all day long. This stuff is so fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think we're coming up onto the end of our time here, Charisma. Thank you so
1
much
second.
for being
And
here.
we're done.
Thank you so much for
Great
coming
questions.
out.
Thank you. You have a
Thank
beautiful
you.
voice as well.
Thank you,
Everybody
Disney
listen to
princess in the
him.
making.